This is Will County's News Talk Sports 1340 WJOL. It's Tuesday morning. It's time for Money Talks, brought to you by NuMark Credit Union. Hey, what is a better way than picking up a car that suits your style, right? How about an auto loan that fits your budget? Purchase a new or pre-driven car, truck, or motorcycle with NuMark Credit Union. Rates are as low as 2.49 APR for 37 to 75 months. Do more with your money at NuMark Credit Union. Call NuMark today at 815-729-3211 or visit NuMarkCU.org to learn more. That's NuMarkCU.org. NuMark Credit Union, where you are family. And I'm part of that family. Michelle Balog, Executive Vice President for NuMark Credit Union, joining us this morning on the Turk Furniture Studio line. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Scott. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you very much for coming on. And we'd like to remind our WJOL listeners that we're going to be giving away a $25 Visa gift card, compliments of NuMark Credit Union. At some point during the show, either Michelle or our guest today will say something that a lot of it's going to stick into my mind, but something, usually a number or a little factoid will stick. We'll turn around and then at the end of the half hour together, ask you to answer that question. If you're the first caller at 254-7300, you will win, if you're correct, a $25 Visa gift card, compliments of NuMark Credit Union. We also welcome today Brad McConnell. He's the CEO for Allies for Community Business. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Good to have you on. Thank you very much. Well, Michelle, let's start with you. Executive Vice President, General Counsel for NuMark Credit Union. What's new in your world, young lady?
Well, a lot is new. As we've probably talked about on the radio show quite a bit, we merged with North Star Credit Union, so now we have 9 branches to serve our members in the Chicagoland area, and it's a great addition. They also did commercial lending, as did we, and we're able to add to that, and that's why we've brought Allies on today.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Now, as far as the merger is concerned, Michelle, you go from what, 6 to 9 locations now? Is that right?
5 to 9.
Oh, 5 to 9. Okay. Wow. Double in size, but I know you still want to let people know that it's still the same old NuMark with that same small town feel, same employees and everything alike, correct?
Absolutely.
Good. Fantastic. All right, Mr. McConnell, well, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, before we talk about Allies for Community Business. Tell them about you.
Well, again, thank you for having me on this morning. I'm the CEO of Allies for Community Business, and in that role, I'm the fortunate one who gets to work with lots of real smart small business owners who really care about their communities. And so I'm delighted to partner with NuMark and to be here today to explain that in more detail.
All right, well, let's get right into it here. What is Allies for Community Business?
We are... Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Working from home and the dog. You know how this goes.
That's fine and dandy.
It's been a year long, you know.
You sound like you love it working from home.
Well, I could do without it.
Exactly.
Allies for Community Business is a nonprofit community development financial institution, and our mission is to provide the capital and the coaching and the collaboration that entrepreneurs need to grow great businesses in their communities. And so we do that from the west of Chicago. We have a very particular focus on underserved entrepreneurs, Black, Latinx, women, low-income entrepreneurs who traditionally have found it harder to find resources that we can provide in order to help them to grow great businesses.
How long has Allies been in business?
We started 27 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Had long been called Axion Chicago and changed our name in January. But yeah, we've been this a long time and have gradually grown until last year, and then explosively grew last year because of the pandemic response, which was required. And we can talk more about that in a bit if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been around. So what your focus is to help those businesses that need help, and the sectors of our population that need help, and that's a popular refrain right now, but you guys were kind of in on this way before any of this was ever even talked about.
Yeah, that's right. And so for a very, very long time, we've been trying to figure out creative ways to say yes to small business owners who have just been conditioned to think everyone's going to tell me no. And so as a nonprofit, we get to do more creative things than a traditional bank or a credit union are able to do in some circumstances. And so we've been practicing for a long time, and therefore we're ready. When the pandemic hit, and we went from, in 2019, providing $4 million in grants and loans to small businesses to, in 2020, providing $400 million in grants and loans, primarily to businesses in Illinois, although some of it was in Indiana as well.
Okay. Any changes, though, since pandemic, other than you having to deal with your home issues and your home office and your dog, any changes with the company over the last year?
Yes, I was not used to dealing with my dog, I have to say, in the office, but actually quite a lot. So not only did we have that massive shift in everything we were doing in order to respond to the pandemic in the way that was required from all the businesses that we care about. On top of that, we changed our name. We changed our lending platform so that we could be much more efficient and technology savvy. We changed our credit policy to be much more flexible. A service delivery model. We changed our website. We changed an awful lot in response to what we saw was needed in the communities that we serve. And so we're still working through all of the implications of that, but we're really excited about where we are at the moment, we've been able to accomplish in the last year.
Brad, what was that process like, just for a personal knowledge here, coming up with a new name for a company? I've been on some organizations or been in some organizations where we had to come up with a new name, and you sit down and you go through, and I know how we did it. How does a business do it, though? Did you incorporate a lot of different people's ideas? Did you sit around and throw a bunch of stuff up on a wall? How do you come up with a new name? Because the one you chose, I really like a lot, Allies for Community Business.
Yeah, if I'm honest, we all came up with just the perfect names. We had 100 perfect names, each and every one of which was already taken. So you kind of work through that process in partnership with really smart people who do this for a living. And we came up with, in partnership with the team and with our clients and with our partners, I think a name that is just really descriptive of what we do, rather than going with a name that might be unique, but which is sort of, I don't know, most of the names we came up with that were brand new words sounded like pharmaceutical companies to me.
Sure.
So we decided to go with something that just explains what we are, which is Allies for Community Business.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to explain what you do, which is big, especially when you're giving people a quick elevator speech. You mentioned earlier, could you get into more detail about the different communities that you serve?
Yeah, so while we serve all of Illinois and Indiana, we have a very specific focus on communities that have been traditionally underserved. So these are the communities that have a large proportion of Black or Latinx or low-income entrepreneurs. We serve women entrepreneurs all over the state and try very hard to come up with creative, thoughtful ways to provide services to those entrepreneurs who traditionally have been shut out. But that's about, I'd say, 3/4 of our business. And then the remainder is we just try to do good work for any small business owner who's trying to grow in a way that is, I think, as we all know, and your listeners know, is challenging. You need capital, you need coaching, and you just need somebody to help to connect the dots with you in order to find the businesses that you're seeking to sell to, or the people that you're seeking to sell to, depending whether you're a kind of a business-to-business or business-to-consumer model. So we serve all of those who traditionally have found it hard to get started and to grow, so that once they do grow those businesses to some certain level, then a NuMark and other more traditional financial services would be able to take it from there and provide the long-term financial growth and support that businesses need in order to really grow and create jobs in their communities.
Okay. You're listening to Money Talks, brought to you by NuMark Credit Union. We're talking today with Brad McConnell, CEO for Allies for Community Business, Michelle Balog, Executive VP for NuMark Credit Union. Michelle, how does working with Allies for Community Business help your members?
Traditionally, startup businesses have had a hard time with, getting financing, and banks, credit unions. We look for history of running that business, being in the industry, and every once in a while you have an entrepreneur who has a great idea, but they're just putting their toes in the water, and we want to make sure that they're set up for success. And we're not the one that's going to give them the business advice or how to get things started. There is a line that traditionally financial institutions can't cross. as far as that, and attorneys, accountants, and I'm an attorney, I'm going to plug that every business should have one, every business should have an accountant, but sometimes they need that little help, that advice that someone like Allies for Community Business can give them that we just can't do. And it's very difficult to finance something, as you know, we are owned by all of our members. So we have to be very prudent with our members' money, and sometimes taking a risk could be difficult for the credit union, but we want to help these businesses to succeed. And having a partner like Allies for Community Business helps us to help that member and get them on their feet with their business. And once that happens, they can come back to us, and now we have the ability to lend more money to them because they've shown that success.
Okay. Well, do you have a specific example in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a member, it was a consumer member, an individual who had the opportunity to buy a business from the company that she worked for. It was husband and wife, and they were ready to retire, and she, really wanted to purchase this business, had worked for them for quite a few years. However, she had never owned a business before. And it was one of those situations where sometimes for anyone trying to start a small business, as Brad mentioned, is the capital, and not having a lot to put down that's even difficult with the SBA. They often look for money down on the business. So our member, if you'd like to see it, it's actually on our website. She did a testimonial. It's Fresh Air Experts of New Lenox, and it's a great testimonial. It's also on YouTube, and she talks about how the partnership between Allies for Community Business and NuMark were able to help her make her dream come true and purchase her business. In 2 days, she had an appointment. At the time, it was Acción. Had an appointment, and within 7 days, had her funding. In addition to getting the funding, the loan she needed to start this business, they were able to help her access grants that can be a windfall for a small business just getting on their feet, which is something that a traditional bank or credit union might not have access, is likely not to have access to. So it's a big help for that member. So with that, Fresh Air Experts, kept in business with that new owner, and now she's a proud small business owner.
That's awesome. What was the name of the company again?
Fresh Air Experts. They specialize in sanitizing for businesses, homes. It was actually perfect timing that she bought the business due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
So definitely something that was in need. And without that business being in place, that would have been a loss to the community.
Yeah. You've heard a lot of stories probably, Brad, about right time, right place. I mean, you talk about right time, right place, huh?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And look, there's just a lot of small business people who have provided the services people were looking for in the middle of the pandemic, and those businesses needed support in order to make sure that they had the liquidity they needed to grow. And so we were trying to make sure they were there for those business owners who were trying to provide people with the assistance they required.
Brad, who will benefit most from financing their small business with Allies?
Our loans run from $500 to $100,000. And so the businesses that'll benefit most are those who are either just beginning or have been in business, say, for just a couple of years, and they're looking to do that gradual, thoughtful growth that businesses should pursue in order to then, over time, be prepared for more traditional financing from NuMark or someone like that. Importantly, we, as part of our revamped credit policy, and when we rebranded, this all happened in January, we changed our credit policy to make it more focused on people who have good habits in repayment, particularly over the last 2 years, and less on more traditional metrics that financial institutions typically use. And most, I think, the most pressing example of that is that we don't use credit score anymore. And so if you've had problems, say, 3 years ago, and you had your credit score wrecked for that, that's okay with us because we're focusing on the underlying data on the credit report of the last 2 years of your payment history and looking for people who've developed good habits over the last 2 years, and we're going to take a risk on those folks.
Okay. What about coaching small businesses. What can you help out with there?
Yeah, this is a really important part of the services we provide because the capital we provide in the form of both loan and grants is obviously crucial. But we also provide free one-on-one coaching for as long as a business owner would like to have it so that we can help them to grow their business in whatever way they're trying to. So we start with a 30-minute one-on-one discussion where we just listen about what the business is trying to achieve. And then from there, we create a milestone-driven path with that business owner that's measurable and is focused on results. And so over the course of that period of time that the business owner wants to work with us, we then just keep track of how they're doing. And it's making sure that you have your business bank account in place, separated, segregated from your personal financials. Get your insurance, get your incorporation of what you want to do or partnership or whatever you're seeking to achieve legally, on and on and on. Those basic blocks that you need. And then we do more sophisticated coaching over the course of time so that people can continue to grow their business in the way that they need to. So we think that that is just as important, if not more so, than the capital that we provide.
Good. Okay. And generally speaking, what is needed to apply for a small business loan?
Yeah, so this is new for us. And just as of January, when you apply, particularly up to $25,000, if you meet our initial criteria, all you have to do is spend 15 minutes applying for a loan. We'll pull your credit report. We'll do all the math underneath and make you an offer. And that's it. If you don't meet those initial criteria, of which there are 3, and this is all laid out word for word on our website so that we're entirely transparent with exactly how we evaluate credit, then we will ask you to just give us the authority to go pull your tax returns or your bank statements. You don't have to provide them to us. Just say, here's my ID, and I will take care of that for you. And they'll do a quick evaluation to do a formula for debt service coverage or debt to income ratio, again, all of which is laid out on our website. And then we just do an evaluation and make an offer on the amount that you're eligible for. The criteria is a little different for those loans above $25,000, where we ask for both tax returns and bank statements and your financial statements as well. But for the loans underneath $25,000, very quick and we think really efficient.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Brad, if someone needs to get a hold of you, would like to get a hold of you, how can they contact you, take advantage of your services?
Yeah, our number is 312-275-3000. Our email address is info@a4cb.org. Again, Allies for Community Business. So info@a4cb.org. But all of what we do, including applying for a loan and scheduling a session with a business coach, you can get at our site, which is a4cb.org.
Okay, good. Michelle Balog, anything in closing as far as NuMark is concerned?
No, if you can also reach out to any of our branch managers at any of our locations, myself or Bernie Niewarner. We do the commercial lending at the credit union, and we can get you started. And if we feel the need to bring in Allies for Community Business, we'll be happy to make that referral. I just made a referral to them on Friday.
Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, thank you very much for your time this morning. Michelle Balog, as always, Executive VP for NuMark. Brad McConnell from Allies for Community Business. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Michelle, thank you for the partnership. We always appreciate it. And Scott, thank you for your time.